Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to Life on Fire. Today, I wanted to talk about mind, your mind, the mind. One of the biggest assets, but also one of our biggest weaknesses. Why? Because we give ourselves that power. Every time we think about something, we're sending ourselves down two different paths. And you're probably thinking, what do I mean when I say two different paths? Well, there is discomfort and pleasure, comfort. And you're saying, like, what is that? What do you mean? Like, well, every time you're faced with a situation, there's your one hand, which is doing something that is probably uncomfortable at that moment, but you know you're going to gain something down the line from it. So it's usually discomfort in the moment, but euphoric afterwards. Let's say that's like the gym. Sometimes you don't want to go, but then afterwards you feel so great. You feel a sense of accomplishment. And and then you've got, the other side where you take it easy, you chill. It's your sense of pleasure and your comfort. And let's go with your morning routine. You wake up in the morning. What do you do? Are you somebody that rolls out of bed, hits that snooze button, goes back to bed? Or are you somebody that hits that button, gets up, does a couple push-ups and go to work? Because you may not understand or realize, but every time you do that, you're actually triggering something in your brain. You're saying that it's okay to do that. So when you're faced with a bigger situation, a bigger problem, it's actually going to affect you. And, people don't think about it in that moment because you're like, oh, what's 5 more minutes? What's 10 more minutes? But because you're doing that, you're actually repeating it and causing a habit. And that's how habits form. That puts us in that uncomfortable stage where we're like, oh man, now I'm a lazy person, and nobody wants to be that. Everybody wants to break out of those habits. Nobody wants to be a lazy person, or maybe you do, but I think the majority of people, especially if you're listening to this, you want to improve yourself. You want to be, ahead of everybody else. You want to be better than the day you were before. You want to say, okay, I did that one thing. Now I'm going to add to that. Let's look at, in your day, what do you do? Are you doing something that is increasing your intelligence? Are you doing something for your body to stay healthy? Are you doing something for your soul to feel good? Like, personally for myself, I try and read something, even if it's not a book, I read an article, something that's going to expand my mind. And that could be listening to a podcast. You could be doing that right now. For my body, I like to exercise, at least get 30 minutes a day, whether that be outside going for a walk or actually working out or doing something just to get the blood flowing. Because at the end of my life, I want to be healthy. I want to be able to always play with my nephew. I want to be there for him no matter what. And that is something that drives me. And then you got to do something for your soul. What gets you excited? What gets you up in the morning? What do you want to achieve? For me, I want to live a life. I want to live a life that I can look back on and say, wow, I did a hell of a lot. I helped a lot of people. I saw cool things. That's why I love going up on the mountain. I love talking to interesting people. I love taking courses. I love doing things that other people don't usually do, because then I have great stories. I go to sleep every single night and I'm like, I feel good. I feel accomplished. And you should do that too. You'll get this sense of, I don't know. I don't know what to call it exactly, but it feels pretty good. And I want you to feel it too. For instance, when you look at your day, what are you thinking about the most? Are you living in the past? Are you thinking about past events that have happened? Or are you thinking about the future, where you want to be, those goals that you have set? Or are you currently living in the present? Because I'll tell you something. If you're living in the past, that's where usually you find yourself very depressed, because you're focusing on things that have already happened that you can't control anymore, that you think maybe I should have done something this way, or I should have done that sooner, or, You know what? Maybe I should have kissed that person, or maybe it would have worked out. And living in that regret, in those problems, that it does nothing for your mind but cause you harm. And you're never going to get over anything if you just dwell on them. If you think about them, reflect, and understand they happen for a reason and move on, you'll be better because of it. But just dwelling on something and reliving that pain over and over again, you're never really going to find peace. And for the people who are living in the future, who are thinking about their goals, well, you're stressing too hard. You have so much anxiety built up that you think, oh, you know what? I need to get there now. I need to focus on that. But I'm going to tell you, and you already know this, you can't just jump from point A to point B. You got to go through the middle. You got to swim through the ditches, got to go through the grass. I know those are horrible metaphors, but you know what I mean. And nobody wants to admit, oh, I got to do all the little things to get there, but you do. And it takes time, and we all do it. And that is one of the most difficult things about getting there. But we do it. And I know you can. You just got to take the time and have the patience. And I know you got it, but I know it's difficult. So every time you feel overwhelmed or that you can't do it, just say, yes, I can. I can do this. And even when you don't think you have all that strength, all that motivation, just try and remember that I'm cheering you on. I don't even know you, but I want you to succeed. The people around you want you to succeed. So if you are living in the past, chances are you're probably healing from something. And, no one talks about it, but healing is hard, and it's lonely, and it's difficult, because in that moment, you think that nobody understands you, which in the moment you do. You're like, nobody gets this. Nobody understands these problems. And you feel lost. Maybe you lost a job. Maybe you lost a loved one or ended a relationship. But, I'm going to tell you, you are going to figure that out. Maybe not in that moment. Like I said, you're going to reflect on that. You're going to realize, okay, that happened for a reason. What can I take from that? And it's not going to feel good. You might cry. You might not understand it. You might talk to 1,000 people to try and figure it out. Why you lost that job, why they didn't like you, why you can't do something. But then you're going to gain the skills to do it, to attract the next person, to feel good about yourself. And that's the best thing I want from you, is just to feel good about yourself. And I hope you do that. I want to reiterate this. You are going to figure it out. And that might sound crazy. You're like, oh, will I? Will, because I know you're strong, and I know you're resilient, and you wouldn't be where you are today without those things, because your mind is pushing you. Your mind doesn't want you to give up. As much as you want to be, relaxed, kind of take the easy route, there's a part of you that doesn't want to do that. You don't want to give up. You don't want to be that person that just goes through waking up, going to work, coming home, doing the same thing over again. I know you want to have an exciting life. I know you want to try things. I know you want to fall in love. I know you want to have a great job. You just got to take the steps to get there. And it's going to be hard. The biggest lessons we learn in life are from the hardest moments, the ones that break us. And, I'll say this. Life is lived forward, but it's understood backwards because of all that reflection, all that understanding that you have to do. But we do it. It just takes time and patience. You're going to look at those moments and say, this made me. And you're going to laugh about it. You're going to think about those ones that were so hard and made you cry. And you're going to be like, okay, they weren't so bad. I'm grateful for those. So if you take anything, from this podcast today, I want you to understand that when you're going through those hard times and you're thinking about the past and you're going through those hard things, don't forget to reach out. There's so many people around you that love you, that care about you, your mom, your dad, your best friend, even exes. There's always going to be somebody that cares about you. So don't ever be afraid to reach out and talk to them, okay? Even me, I've been there. I've answered so many DMs and emails from people that are going through tough times. And if I have some time, I want to listen. There's been people who have said some horrible things, and I've ended up calling them because I don't want them to feel alone, and I want them to understand exactly what they're going through. And if that takes talking to a complete stranger, there are kind people out there that want to listen. There are kind people that will take the time to talk to you because nobody wants somebody else to feel horrible. Or, I mean, that's what I like to believe. How do you talk to yourself in the mirror? When you wake up, when you look at yourself, you're brushing your teeth, what do you see? What do you say to yourself? Personally, I know I'm hard on myself. I say things that maybe I wouldn't say to somebody else, but because it's me, I'm hard on myself. And I make sure I understand that when I'm going through something tough, I am hard on myself because I want to be able to understand on the good days what it was like on the bad. That so no matter what kind of day I'm having, I'm going to get through it because I'm not going to quit. And I don't think you are either. So I want you to always remember, talk to yourself with kindness. Treat yourself like you would somebody else. Because I don't think you'd talk to your friend, the way that you talk to yourself. I know I don't. Let's jump to those future thinkers. For the ones who are freaking out right now, stressing about life, thinking you don't have it together. Maybe you don't, but that's your anxiety talking. That's you just being like, I'm not where everybody else is. I'm behind, thinking that what you don't have isn't great. No matter what, if you achieve something later than somebody else who's standing right next to you, it doesn't take away how great it is when you accomplish that goal. So you thinking and getting in your head saying, I'm not where I'm supposed to be, you're doing yourself a disservice. You're taking away from the power that you even have just saying that, you know what, I'm on a path right now. I'm doing this. I started it. I'm taking one step at a time. And that is something great in its own. So don't cut yourself down by thinking too far in the future. I always find it so funny when people get in their heads about saying like, I should be there right now. Well, what are you taking? The steps to get there. That goes back to your whole mindset. It was like when somebody else was taking the left road, you were taking the right, you were taking the relaxed road, which don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. You're just taking it at a different time. Maybe you just needed more time to get there. And that's okay. But you don't need to beat yourself up about it. Some of your best days haven't even happened yet. You haven't seen everything. You haven't felt everything. There's so many more people for you to meet, places for you to see, and things for you to experience for the first time. You don't have your mind open to it because you're thinking too much in the future. So take a deep breath, calm down, relax. And I know people hate when you say relax, but just relax. Struggling is not a weakness. Talking to somebody is not a weakness. Taking your time is not a weakness. Yet people look at it like it's this huge curse, that it's this problem in the society that you're taking a little bit longer than somebody else. Who cares? The only person that you're in a race with is yourself. The only person that you're trying to better is yourself. You're not doing it for somebody else. Because at the end of the life, who are you looking at? You. So remember that. A lot of people think in my life, they're like, oh man, you haven't even struggled. You haven't gone through anything. And I look at them and I say, do I have to prove anything to you? And they say, what? I'm like, was there a moment where I have to prove that I've gone through struggle to get where I am right now? And they look at me like they're confused. And I say, you may see me struggle, but I'm never going to quit. And just because I may show a moment where I am weak, where I'm stumbling or falling, I'm never going to give up. I'm never going to stop. I'm going to take every stumble and lesson that I learn and I'm going to put it forward. I'm going to fall forward. And I'm going to be better than the days that I was in the past. I'm going to be better for the future because that's who I am. No matter what I choose to do, what you choose to do, you're going to succeed at it. You just need to get to a happy place in your mind, in that present that we were talking about. You just need to worry about every single day. You know, there's a thing that talks about goals and habits, and people always stretch themselves too thin. They think about, oh, you know what? Yeah, once again, I need to get from point A to C and skip B. And, everybody ends up giving up. I have many friends that always talk about, yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to do this. And they go into that and they look into what entails in that whole course. And they're like, it's a lot. It is a lot. And I'm like, yeah, of course it's a lot. It's not going to be little. To succeed in a goal that seems so big is set your goals low, something a little bit higher than something that you feel you can achieve. You don't need to jump from 0 to 100 real quick. Go to 50. What's stopping you? You know, let's break it down to the gym. You want to start exercising more. So let's say, okay, I want to go to the gym 5 days a week. Let's go smaller than that. Let's say I'm going to go to the gym today. Let's go smaller than that. I'm going to put on running shorts today. I'm going to put on a t-shirt. I'm going to put on my shorts. Sorry. I'm going to put on my runners. And then I'm going to walk to the gym. And then you know what? You've got yourself in the gym. And then once you got in the gym, you're like, okay, I'm going to work out now. I'm going to start jogging. I'm going to do jumping jacks. I'm going to skip the rope. And look at that. You're already at the gym working out. You don't need to think, oh, I need to do this 5 times this week, 4 times, whatever. Just get yourself to the gym. Go from there. Start with the little things. And then it'll become a habit, Quit trying to expect such big, amazing things from yourself. Break it down to the smallest little thing. Make it a small habit. And then it becomes a big one. And then you can add on it and add on it and add on it. And then you can turn it into big things. But it doesn't need to be that right away. So cut yourself some slack, okay? Going onto that and people thinking about the future, getting so far ahead, thinking about, I need to get this to be happy. I need to be here to be happy. I need to feel this to be happy. And once I obtain those things, then I'll be happy. Happiness isn't a place. It's not a thing. It can't be obtained. It can't be bought. What it is a state of mind, a constant place where you forgive, you forget, and you're grateful for all that you have. Probably like, what? No, that's crazy. If I had money, I'd be happy. Maybe, it could buy you things for a short period of time. But once you enjoy those things for a small period of time, will you honestly be happy? I can't speak for you, but for myself, no. If I don't have, a good mindset or people around me to enjoy it with, then I won't be happy. So that's where I say you gotta pick the things that make you uncomfortable so that you can enjoy them later. So that you get into this mindset of, I'm grateful for where I am. I'm grateful for what I have. And then every single day you wake up, you're going to smile. You're going to be happy about what you have. And you're going to be like, I'm in a pretty good place right now. And then you're not constantly looking in the past for something that you missed, or you're not looking in the future for something that you need. Everything that you have is in the present. It's right now with you. So take a deep breath, okay? No matter what, you're going to reach your goals. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but you're going to get there. But you don't need to be so hard on yourself. You don't need to beat yourself up about it. Like I said, break things down to the smallest thing. Go from there. So I want to leave you with a quote, something that I think is very powerful, and it's by a philosopher and a writer named Cooley. He said, I'm not what I think I am. I'm not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. So what he's saying, it's a perception on a perception. You're never going to be what somebody else thinks. You're never going to be what you think, but you're going to be the thought of something that you think somebody else is. And I think that's pretty powerful because that's just being in your head. That's overthinking things. That's overanalyzing it. That's beyond reflection. That's something that is going to destroy your psyche. And you need to get to a place where you're not worried about other people. You're happy with who you are. You're content on who you are. And then you might find a little happiness. So, anyways, thank you so much for listening. I was Life on Fire. And I hope you tune in next time. Have a great day.